I think we'll begin with the most famous film from 1916,
Yes.
16, uh, which is David Wark Griffith's
Is
Intolerance.
that his middle name? His
Yes.
second name? Whatever.
Yes.
Who cares? Um, yeah,
Garbage
Intolerance.
Man.
Intolerance. It's his big follow up to his big hateful piece of shit movie that he made last year.
Yes.
Um, not as it has sometimes, I guess, been proclaimed to be a sort of like apology for that movie or some sort of like uh,
Definitely not.
it is him fully doubling down, if anything. um,
Thankfully, it's like not specifically him going, it's okay that I'm racist and here's why. It's like a little more oblique about him just being salty about being criticized about anything.
right. I also I kind of wonder or doubt about it being that much of a direct follow up to The Birth of a Nation in the sense where it's all I've also read that this is a movie about that he made in response to people criticizing The Birth of a Nation. He was like,
Yeah.
"You're just being intolerant of my art," or whatever. And I don't really think that that was it either. That maybe, but I kind of get the sense this is just a movie he was gonna make either way.
It touches on some themes and some kind of visual iconography and storytelling styling that he was working on before he entered his racist era.
This
Um,
also to me feels a bit more like kind of his magnum opus as a storyteller, I guess, just because
hmm.
The Birth of a Nation is so specific on like Civil War stuff and like his weird skewed idea of the Civil War.
Yeah.
Um Whereas this I feel like it's a much more ambitious movie, I think. And it's about kind of bigger ideas rather than just like I don't like black people. You know, it's less him just being a shitty, terrible dude, and is some of the sort of like bigger, I guess, sort of like philosophical ideas or whatever of some of his earlier movies, kind of show up
Well,
in this also.
and this is a movie that is kind of taking his directorial formal trademark, which is
Hmm.
intercutting.
And just doing it too way too much, cranking it to the highest degree possible. He is just
Yeah.
like he's really proud of how many scenes he's able to cut together at once in this one. I feel like.
I think you're right that it does feel like a magnum opus in a way because it is definitely kind of grander and more trying to go for this iconic realm
Hmm.
than something like Birth of a Nation. And it's also the kind of apex of his style.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. For sure. I think. One of the I guess sort of for as long as this movie is, it's paced very quickly. It
yeah.
really moves. It doesn't like it does feel long because it is. Um, but it I thought this movie was going to be a chore to get through, and it was a lot more watchable than I guess I thought it might be.
Especially watching this next to vampires. I don't mean to like bag on vampires too hard, but like it's like cinematography is kind of plain, and it like left me like a little it left me a little like distant at times. But
Hmm.
this movie like moves, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's you're in the emotions. He does big emotions pretty well. This guy.
Well, that's
And
I would argue this because that's the only type of emotion that he even attempts to put on screen.
oh yeah, no, he does big drama, big melodrama.
Yeah.
But like at least it's like it's propulsive, you know.
Yes.
This movie is structured like some of his earlier thrillers, where they're like on a bigger scale, where his early thrillers are like building tension, and as you build tension, you're cutting between two things that are juxtaposed with each other to build more tension until the cutting becomes quicker and quicker and quicker, until it's just high tension, quick cutting by the end. And
Hmm.
that is what this movie is on a macro scale between
Yeah.
four different stories.
Yeah, four different stories, all taking place in different time periods that all kind of thematically intersect, or sort of like a lot of times they'll also intercut between similar things happening at once. Like there'll be a chase happening in one of the stories, and I'll be intercutting that with it. A wholly unrelated chase happening in a different story.
Yeah,
Um,
sometimes I was a little like, I don't know. It seems like because this is sort of an art film, he's trying to always kind of have like this meaningful juxtaposition between the two
mhm.
scenes. But I sometimes it felt like there wasn't necessarily any kind of like thematic connection between one and the other.
Yeah. Um, yeah, sometimes it felt like it was reaching a little bit in that respect. The I think probably the most well known, or the most sort of iconic of the four stories in this, is the Babylon story, which famously he built a massive set for.
It's very
Um,
impressive.
it is very impressive. It is like when you see it, and like the way it, also like just the way it's shot, the way that Billy Bitzer shoots it on like this big like giant crane shot. It's is very impressive. I was like, damn, that is a very good shot though. Like it looks great. It looks yeah, I think even by like contemporary standards, it is like a jaw dropping shot just in terms of its scale and its spectacle.
And especially when you think that like nowadays that would be done with green screens, you know. There were
Yeah.
thousands of extras there all doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Uh while the camera was sweeping through a enormous set.
Yeah. Like I ridiculously it's like so insanely big. It's kind of mind-boggling. It looks very expensive because it was. I think it was. I don't know. I tried to find some exact figures on like what this movie cost, and it seems like no one can agree. But it was very expensive. Um, that one everyone can pretty much agree on. And I think that like attention to, I think, set design does apply to some other stories. Also, there's a good example I think is there's one of the other one is about this sort of like, I don't know, like labor dispute kind of thing, of like the mean old company man, you know, and the workers kind of rising up against the the big boss man. And we see the big boss man in his office, and it's this like massive room, and it's a huge room, and it's completely empty except for this one guy sitting by himself, like in the very center of the room at his desk. And it's like, man, that's like such a simple but like powerful image. That's like,
Yeah.
all right, I get everything about what this is trying to be. And when D.W. Griffith does that, it's like, all right, this works. The problem is that he is constantly coming up with like really good imagery that speaks for itself, and then immediately interrupting it with these like insanely overwritten intertitles. Like the one that I have written down is "The loom of fate spins death for his father," and it's just like, just show us, just put a scene in, like, you know, it's like, I don't want to read this dumb novel that you're writing. Like you're
You
making a
know,
movie. You're making a movie here. Come on.
D.W. Griffith has always been someone who has been very concerned with being seen as a serious artist.
Oh
Um,
yes.
and and you know, I was just having this conversation like unrelatedly earlier today with my partner, where like I think that a lot of people will just invoke like Western Civ stuff, and like just the fact of invoking it. Oh, Sisyphus. I made a reference to Sisyphus. Therefore, I'm smart. I'm sophisticated. You
Ergo,
know,
I am smart.
and like that's not necessarily the case. And but I think that that is a common, like, you know, cultural signifier uh of substance and that kind of thing.
Mm.
And so that's probably part of the reason why he chose some of these stories and this
Mm.
presentation.
Concordantly, that's why he chose to make a movie about Babylon.
Getting all ready for
Um,
Matrix.
you know it. I just rewatched the sequels, and they were better than I remembered them being.
I'm looking forward to doing that. One thing that this movie did, which I thought was neat, and that other movies haven't done, that I have seen at least, is have a kind of like a book opening beginning,
Right.
like in
Yeah.
Shrek, you know. Um,
The classic
and
book opening of any
it's like
movie.
it's a thing, and this is the first time
Yeah.
that I've seen it where like the book opens with the title Intolerance. It's it's hearkening to a more respected form.
If it wasn't
Um,
already a thing, it wouldn't be in Shrek. So.
right. Including the Matrix. Uh, there's a book. So another cool thing is that like the intertitles are for the different eras are on like kind of era appropriate
Yeah.
like intertitle stylings. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Babylonian part is on this kind of like cuneiform tablet looking things.
Yeah.
Uh, and
That was
like
that
different
was a nice detail.
yeah. And going along with what you were saying about him explaining everything, one of the book pages that some of the intertitles are printed on top of, and this sort of just like interstitial intertitle that he uses, it has a book that says that opens to say Intolerance on it, and the text in the back of the book says like basically the thesis of everything the movie is. Uh, it says, the book of this play is arranged in 4 parallel plot threads or lines of action, telling 4 stories with 4 sets of characters and dealing with 4 periods of history, all bearing on the theme of intolerance. Intolerance is that thing in all of our natures which causes us to condemn all those who believe differently than ourselves. It has been the same in all ages, and as far back as history goes, intolerance has been the cause of more bloodshed than that of all other influences combined. We will now pause in this thread in our story to pass to a later period where the new faith has become the tool of designing politics in and in itself the cause of intolerance. So true it is that intolerance ever cloaks itself in the garb of righteousness, that it may the more easily improve on the minds of man. So that's what the movie's about.
Yeah. Well, it has, like all D.W. Griffith stuff, it has very sort of like, well, the real victims of intolerance are like white men. It's like, shut
Yeah.
up, dude. Um,
I feel like that was too long, and I should cut that out. But
no, because
uh,
I also think that is kind of an example also of him just like over explain, like it just a kind of very very much just like kind of stating what his thesis is.
yeah,
Oftentimes just in text of just sort of like a title card of just like, this is what the scene means, and it's like, just show us the scene, man.
it's
Like
blunt,
like
definitely.
it's a sort of thing. It's like, you're pretty good at it. Just do that, and it would be fine.
It's also like for being a movie that's like so focused on theme. It's such a vague theme,
Mm-hmm.
intolerance. You
Yeah.
know, especially considering the axe to grind that it comes out of. I feel like all these stories explore intolerance in some way, but I feel like if it were more like of a narrow view on like a type of intolerance, like that might be able to explore the concept more deeply. Whereas like these are just stories of people not liking other people, you know?
Mm-hmm. It also, like, for all of the sort of to do about it being these like 4 sort of interconnected stories, I don't really think they connect very much, and I kind of feel like they should have been 4 different movies. Because I'm pretty sure
Yeah, and
he was originally going to do 2 movies, and then decide to combine them and then add 2 other stories to that to make it this sort of huge epic. And
yeah.
I don't really think that was a good idea, because I think the Babylon segment of this movie, like all the Babylon stuff, if you were to cut out everything else and you just kept the Babylon thing,
Yeah.
it would probably be my favorite thing that he's done. And it might be
Hmm.
a low bar, but just I think in terms of like actually a like watchable movie with a coherent idea behind it, that isn't like insanely hateful. Um, like all the best stuff is in the Babylon segments. It's the only one where I feel like the kind of melodrama is doesn't feel just like insane. Like
Yeah.
it's the one where like the grandiosity of the kind of tone kind of makes sense and kind of works
That's
with the
true.
story.
Yeah.
Whereas the sort of more contemporary ones, when it's taking place in like 1904 or whenever, or like during World War One, there is some like contemporary World War One stuff in this movie. It just feels so melodramatic and so kind of like over, like ugh, like all right, bring it down a notch or two, you know.
Right, because
Um,
it was a more dramatic time. I will say that something that I like about the modern day segment is that it speaks to, I don't know if this was more normal at the time, but like from our current day, DW's like politics are all over the place, because he kind of seems like a socialist. Like he's very like pro worker. He's very like kind of anti-capitalist. His first movie, A Corner in Wheat, was that his first movie? I think so. Um,
was that his? Yeah, I don't remember
oh,
if
maybe it
that was
wasn't an
actually. I thought it
early
was
movie
actually.
of
Yeah,
his at least. Like it's very like you know talking about the exploitation of workers
yeah.
and the by rich evil people, and that happens here. And like there's a sympathetic like striking factory, and the rich people are scumbags.
Hmm.
Um, uh, anyway, maybe that just lines up with my
I
politics,
mean,
so I like it.
well,
But
no, because I think two things can be true. Like he can be a sort of like very, in one respect, have sort of much more kind of socialist viewpoints, and be really against sort of uh, like wealthy corporations, and like be all for sort of like working conditions and things like that, and also just be a horrific racist who only wants good working conditions for white people.
oh my god.
Because it's like,
Um,
and I feel like even in The Birth of a Nation, you kind of see that there's like the thing of like, why can't all the white people just get along and agree to hate everyone else? Like, I feel like that's his big kind of
ugh,
thesis
what
throughout
a
his
dumb
whole
weird guy.
work is just sort of like, no, we should all stop fighting, and by we I mean all the white people, so that we can all agree to hate the rest of Earth. You know, it's like no, just stop at the first part because you were almost onto something there. And then you took it in a very weird, upsetting direction.
Do you have anything else on Intolerance?
Um, I mean, yeah, my big sort of hot take on it is that it shouldn't be one movie. It should be two movies or four movies.
Which it was re-released as at some point.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Because someone was smart and decided to recut it.
yeah.
Yeah, because all together as one movie, it's too long. It feels, I think, very kind of messy and inconsistent.
Yes, yeah. They don't
Um,
line up super well.
but like the big famous parts of this movie um are impressive. I was impressed by them.
Yeah. Me too. I thought it was all right.
Yeah.